Obligatory disclaimer. This video is not medical advice, simply my own experience and opinions on Kratom. I'm obviously not a doctor or a scientist, and my take should be viewed as entertainment. Like with taking anything, you should do your own research and decide for yourself if Kratom is right for you.
There is no such thing as a bad drug. I've heard it said before, and to some degree, I believe it. Some drugs should have never been criminalized, such as marijuana and other psychedelics, especially considering substances like psilocybin and marijuana have proven medical benefits for managing depression and accepting one's own existential demise. Kratom is another plant that has a broad spectrum of benefits. It is currently saving lives and changing them, and big pharma lobbyists are trying very hard to get it banned. When it comes to my drinking, I was what's known as a functioning alcoholic. It started with, like a sixer every night, and then it slowly turned into 24-pack every night, maybe 50 beers a weekend. It all started when I got dumped. So I had it pretty bad for this girl. Classic case of one-itis. And yeah, I wasted about a decade of my life just feeling really sorry for myself, I guess. Those times I wasn't so much functioning as I was just dreading being alone. When I started drinking hard liquor, that's when things really got out of hand. And again, I wasn't so much functioning as I was just lucking out by not getting into trouble with all the bad decisions I was making. They say the standard for alcoholism is 3 to 4 drinks a night. I definitely was well past that. Another standard would be that you kind of do things that you regret. And I definitely did that. It's funny because I actually took a quiz of about 20 questions to see if you had a alcohol problem, and I said yes to just about all of them. I was like, okay, I got a problem. But that didn't cause me to stop, like most, as cliche as it sounds. But I did have one last embarrassing incident that caused me to quit liquor, at least for good. I got blackout drunk one night, and when I talked to my girlfriend who came home at the time after work, she was like, yeah, you got trashed. And I was like, okay, I gotta stop drinking liquor at least, because it was messing me up. And I remember pouring the rest of my cheap tequila down the drain, and I remember thinking, well, I could have just drank the rest of that, but that's a dangerous game you don't want to play if you really mean to quit. So I did pour it down the drain, and that was the last time I had hard liquor. All was well for a couple months. I was totally sober. I didn't even smoke weed or anything, no beer, no nothing, but I slowly started drinking beer again, and pretty soon I was up to my old habits. I remember I used to drink 3 or 5 hams, which are very light and cheap beer. So that was my compromise. I was like, as long as I'm not drinking liquor again, it's like I'm good. I had heard of Kratom before, and finally I said, I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what it's all about, see what it does. I had heard that it curbed alcohol craving, so imagine my surprise when I was like, wow, this stuff is a really useful tool. The first time I did it, I remember I was on vacation and I was drinking a couple beers, of course, and I remember thinking I took some while I was drinking, and I was like, this is really good, too good. I was almost concerned about it was gonna make drinking more awesome than it already was. But we all know how the story goes with Kratom. I just didn't crave alcohol as much. I remember I was down my last couple beers, my last couple hams, and I didn't have that anxiety. Like, oh, I gotta get more. I gotta have more beer on hand. I just said I'm good and just took Kratom. I don't know how hard Kratom is on my body, mainly my liver. I'm assuming it couldn't be worse than drinking every night, and I'm assuming it's as safe as coffee, as they're in the same family. I know it's a silly assumption to make, but my point is, I know it's not some crazy chemical with properties I couldn't even begin to spell, let alone pronounce. As a person who has used Kratom daily for over 3 years, I personally haven't had any adverse effects, but I don't use huge amounts. I'm not going to delude myself and just assume that there are no side effects from Kratom, but I am very skeptical about some of the published research done on this leaf. on account of me knowing some of the claims are outright bullshit. I suspect a bunch of anti-kratom researchers, i.e. paid for shills from Big Pharma and no doubt the liquor industry, will say it's dangerous. So dangerous, stay away. But we've been through this shit before with marijuana. The government is going to lie about the dangers of kratom because they are in the pocket of big pharma, liquor lobbyists, and whoever stands to gain from criminalizing kratom and other useful natural drugs. Don't get me wrong, I understand that there are plenty of people who benefit from prescription drugs, but people deserve options other than what big pharma is selling. It seems a lot of information coming out regarding kratom is just an ad hoc attempt to slander the plant and get it criminalized before everyone knows all their findings are bullshit. It's all about money. If someone has a cheap natural option that actually works, they aren't going to sell as many pills or as many drinks. I'm certainly not going to listen to this doctor who says if you take a few kratom capsules, you're going to be under a fucking bridge tying off and shooting up.
What I worry about is this. If I can go buy this, I have no idea what's in it, and I'm a kid or an adult, quite frankly, and I go pop a few of these, and I end up under the bridge. I don't think any...
That makes about as much sense as saying, oh, I had too many cups of coffee, so now I'm going to go rob a liquor store because I'm so cranked out on the coffee. This is the type of dishonest shit we are up against. I guarantee this guy isn't that stupid. I guarantee he's a paid-for shill or hoping to be one so he can get some type of monetary kickback for making kratom seem as dangerous as bath salts or synthetic weed. I'm telling you, they depend on you being confused and uneducated on the topic of kratom so they can get away with these types of dishonest and downright stupid takes. Fuck this guy. Go back to med school if in fact you are a doctor and not an actor because you just got bested by a fucking shop rat. Punk. There are tons of stories about people also kicking opiates and pill addictions. I can't speak to that as I've never had any of those problems, but it makes sense that if it works to curb alcohol cravings, it would most certainly do similar things with harder stuff. Unfortunately, the pull of heroin and OxyContin is much stronger than alcohol, and no amount of kratom will help them if they relapse and use a fatal dosage of whatever drug they are addicted to. This is where more lies about kratom are spread. These addicts that are trying to kick heroin are dying of overdoses, but they might have some kratom in their system in an attempt to kick, and it's the kratom that gets blamed for the death of that person. It's totally dishonest, and it's intentionally done. To hammer the point home of how much they will paint kratom in a dangerous light, they claim that heroin overdoses are actually kratom overdoses. They know the amount of kratom found in the overdose victim is inconsequential to the amount of heroin or other dangerous drugs found in their system. In 1 year, it was found that of 91 overdoses involving kratom, that 84 of them had other drugs found in their toxicology report, which means that 7 of those people died of kratom overdoses alone. I am actually skeptical that 7 whole-ass people managed to ingest so much kratom that they died. Like with anything you ingest, you should take kratom in moderation, but my point is you would need a lot of kratom to die. I'm talking about putting a funnel in your mouth and having someone pour a half kilo down your throat, and then for whatever reason you can't manage to throw it up, which is what you do if you take too much kratom. You get nauseous and throw it up. My point is that you can die from fluoride poisoning if you eat an entire tube of toothpaste, but who's going to do that? Why isn't fluoride toothpaste illegal if there is enough in one tube that it can kill you? It's the same logic for trying to ban kratom. We can't make laws around the most irresponsible people in our society, and sometimes it feels like that's exactly how it is. So here's this amazing natural medicine for not just one but many problems, not just physical but psychological, and the government is banning it left and right throughout the states. Let me ask you this: if the government that views us as adults, able to make educated decisions for ourselves, allow us to constantly choose to eat insane fast food that is slowly killing us, wash our clothes in toxic soaps and fabric softeners, then why wouldn't they also allow us to choose kratom? Something that is far less dangerous than the obesity epidemic, rampant alcoholism, and people who get hooked on heroin after they can't afford their OxyContin. It's because it's a simple tree that can be grown by anyone, making it impossible for Big Pharma to control it. This is the same with pot. This is the same with psilocybin mushrooms. They don't want you well. They don't want you well. They don't want you educated. They don't want you to have simple options for whatever ails you because there is no money in it. Again, it's all about money. These people don't give a fuck about you.
They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all.
So I guess I made this video because I think it's important to actually put a face to Kratom and not let people demonize it. It's an invaluable tool, and it's not as dangerous as everybody's making it out to be. Like, it's just not. So yeah, we got to talk about Kratom. We got to tell people that it's like pot, but not pot at all. It's just it's a tool. That's all it is. It's not bath salts. You're not gonna become a bath salt zombie if you take it, and other stupid shit like that. So yeah, share, like, subscribe. Share this video around. I tried my best to make my case for Kratom. And yeah, thanks for watching.